Do you ever sit in traffic and wonder, why is this taking so long? As a matter of fact, maybe you're sitting in traffic right now, pondering why things are just so backed up and what you could have done to avoid such a standstill. Well, it turns out city managers often wonder the same thing. Simple things like faulty traffic lights, damaged signs, or roads needing repair can cause a hailstorm of issues for those in charge of keeping our roads working efficiently. Yet, more often than not, there just isn't a good system in place for monitoring these issues so that repairs can be made in a timely manner and spare you that added wait time sitting in your vehicle. Hello, I am your host, Mike Lake, and in today's preview, I will be speaking with Mirza Ozdil to discuss how using modern technology to monitor our roads, our assets on those roads, and keeping our government leaders informed of necessary maintenance can change your commute forever.
Innovation, resiliency, discovery. Join Mike Lake, President and CEO of Leading Cities, as we explore the technologies shaping the possibilities of our future with a preview of tomorrow.
Hello and welcome, Mirza. It's so good to have you here on a preview of tomorrow. I want to thank you for joining us. And of course, I also want to thank all our listeners and viewers for once again tuning into another episode. Today, I get to introduce you to Mirza Ozdil. He is the CEO of Tytovision, a company that uses vehicles to detect traffic issues like violations or infrastructure problems with computer vision and artificial intelligence technologies. Now, Mirza, before we jump into not only the problem, but the incredible technology you've developed, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be the CEO of Tytovision.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for keeping me in this conversation and this broadcast. It's a wonderful chance. Mirza Ozdil is a mechanical engineer, and we found Tytovision with my team 3 years ago. Actually, it was just an idea we came up, and we discussed several people to bring us this position. I graduated from one of the best universities in Turkey, Istanbul Technical University. Also, I mentioned I'm a mechanical engineer. Now I'm continuing my master education at same university, but in this case, I'm mostly software side.
Sure. Well, let's dive into this problem because it really is a huge problem. I mean, in the United States and certainly in the Northeast, where I am, I should say, is I mean we're very familiar with potholes, for instance, and that kind of degradation of our infrastructure. Although there are so many other parts of infrastructure that are equally degraded and maybe less noticed. So it's at some level this is a problem we're all aware of. How extensive a problem it is, I think, is somewhat shocking. So do you want to tell us a little bit about how big this infrastructure problem really is today?
Of course. Well, in many cities, there are more than a million people live in that cities. For example, in Istanbul, we have 15 million people. And like New York, like other cities, we have more than millions populations. So the municipalities or the organizations need to control all these people, and the infrastructure is very huge. We can estimate, we are not knowing anything about this infrastructure, but we estimate there are more than million infrastructure. Each stage of municipalities need to control. For example, as you mentioned, potholes. Municipalities, there is a place who control potholes, and
Mhm.
also there is another organization who controls traffic signs or traffic signals. So there are many different infrastructures, and all these infrastructure cost more than millions as number. Not I'm mentioning the money. So in Istanbul, there are 10,000 people who works for a municipality. This is a huge number. And if we want to keep maintenance, it needs more people to to travel around the city and see the problems. So it's not easy thing for cities, the administrators, or even authorities. And besides, in traffic violation side, every day there are thousands of violations happen, and these violation affects traffic directly. We calculate at this traffic violation cost more than 20% of traffic speed.
Hmm.
If we decrease these violations, traffic speed will increase. I'm not mentioning individual speed, the whole traffic speed.
Right. Overall congestion, traffic speed.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Understood. And of course, speed is one factor, but there's also a cost factor for roads that are in disrepair. I know in the US, it's estimated that almost about 43%, almost half of our roads are in mediocre or poor condition,
Mhm.
and that we're not investing in repairing those as quickly as we should. But that actually translate into a massive cost for the users of those roads. I mean, I believe it's over $130 billion a year on extra operating and repair costs that
Mhm.
the average person, ends up spending, collectively, on their own vehicle because of the disrepair of the roads. So, I mean,
And
this affects
in
everybody.
Europe, I want
Yeah.
to add something you're mentioning. In Europe, it costs 200 billion euros for people to maintain traffic accidents, and 15% of these accidents are related with infrastructure problems.
Wow. So this is a timing issue, meaning how much time we're wasting sitting in cars
Mhm.
on poor roads. It's a cost issue in the repairs to our vehicles. It
Mhm.
is a health issue in terms of accidents. Um, and I'm wondering here, what how does Tytovision actually address all of these issues?
Well, to solve this problem, authorities and municipalities need to check these problems immediately in the region. But how can it possible to control whole city land? Is it possible? No. But cities, the municipalities have different vehicles travel around the city, like buses. Most of the buses will travel around the city whole day. And Tytovision wants to use these buses and transform these buses or any other vehicles into intelligent data carrier, which detects traffic problems or violations. And with so, municipalities or authorities will know what problem in which region and what time. So it's much easy to collect all this problem data and solve these problems.
So it's really fascinating. So you're using technology, to, well, on multiple levels, hardware and software.
Mhm.
Um, and the hardware is being added to existing assets. Is that, am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, we offer two different solutions. One of is we offer hardware, to municipalities or car producers, which helps to detect these problems. And we also use existing hardwares if the vehicle has any cameras. We collect all these videos to our server or municipality server as on-premise, and we do analysis in that videos, whether is existing hardware of buses or our own hardware.
So in the end, you're able to identify these issues and communicate them to the authorities so that they can be resolved. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah. And do you have a sense of when, even if it's on a per camera basis, but how many incidents, I'll call them, are detected by this process?
Right now, we are working for the largest area municipality in Turkey, and we work for them like 100 hours, and we detect more than 1,000 incidents, like the crosswalk, the pedestrian area is old, and municipality need to maintain that area. So we give information about that crosswalks. Also, some of them is not proper for crossing. So we mentioned these problems also. And we have done some demo for another municipality in Turkey, and we detect just in 2 hours video record, we detect like 10 parking violation in front of bus stations. So bus cannot enter the bus station, so it affects traffic directly, and it affects another stuff as well.
So in the end, it's both analyzing the infrastructure as well as the violations. So this is actually, it can be a revenue stream for a city.
Yes, of course. First of all, we can talk about the infrastructure maintenance. Most of the municipalities don't know where to spend their money. They do this operation according to previous data. For example, in one of the newest customers, they go for a bid, and the bid documentation is prepared for previous data. Last year we bought this number of, for example, traffic sign, and this year we are going to buy this amount of traffic sign. But it's not same. The needs are changed, or the same level of traffic sign is broken. So we keep information about this also, and they can do this planning with detailed information about their city. And of course, cities can make revenue from this violation, because most of the city or authority can collect money via tickets. So while they are organizing their cities and people behavior, they also make money from these operations.
So in the end, the cities are generally the customers, although it's the citizens who are the real beneficiaries.
Yes.
And cities would deploy the actual hardware on all their fleet of vehicles, police cars, fire engines, whatever.
It's a possible thing. It's possible. Now we are discussing applying this to ambulances, because it sometimes might be a problem for ambulances to parking violations or emergency road violation. So we are discussing to deploy this product to ambulances, but our first customers use our product for detecting traffic signs and detecting potholes. And right now we deploy this hardware in one of our customers for 10 vehicles, and one of the hardware will deploy to mayor's own vehicle, and one of the camera will deploy to I say vice president, but secretary, his secretary. So
Sure.
so it's mostly like who needs the vehicle, we deploy to them. But our goal is applying this product to city scale, to all policies, to all buses or other stuff.
So let's talk about, we have just a minute left. So let's talk about the future and imagining a world where Tytovision is deployed in every city. What does that actually mean? Like, give us a sense of the impact you're creating on either the individual level, the community level, or even, frankly, perhaps it's at a global scale.
You are a citizen and you are complaining something about your city, and you want to know the authority know about that problem. You need to complain about that problem. It's not necessary anymore. We detect that problem and will inform the authority as soon as possible.
Amazing. So we're talking about a much, much, much more efficient system than what we have today.
Yes.
Well, I know I'll speak for myself, but I will be grateful to live in a world that has a lot fewer potholes.
Yes, we are complaining that situation too. And we start with that problem. I don't want to complain anything about my city. They have to know that problem before I say them. So we found the Tytovision.
Well, I'm grateful that you're doing it because, as I said, it will affect us here as well. And a road without potholes is a much better road to travel on. With that, I would love to ask for anybody who wants to learn more or to be in contact, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can achieve me through LinkedIn as Mirza Ozdil, or they can use my email, mozdil@tytovision.com. You can spell and I can help you if anything goes wrong. MOZDIL@tytovision.com.
Perfect.
Please correct me if
I was going to say it's VISION.
Okay.
.com. Yep. And thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I look forward to seeing how you continue to deploy and expand from city to city. But it's been a pleasure to have you on Preview of Tomorrow.
Thank you very much for this great opportunity.
And thank you for tuning in to this episode of Preview of Tomorrow. Listeners like you are essential to advancing our efforts to drive resiliency and sustainability for all. I ask that you give us a rating on Apple Podcasts or whichever streaming platform you prefer. Your feedback helps us to grow and share these brief previews of what life in the future can be. In addition to thanking our guest today, I want to thank Peter Roy and Demetria Bridges for making this podcast possible. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and encourage others to also join us each week in previewing the possibilities of tomorrow.
Preview of Tomorrow is brought to you by Leading Cities, a global nonprofit driving resilience and sustainability for all by unleashing the potential of the world's cities. Join them at leadingcities.org.